What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the rear window motor on this 2015 Chevy Silverado. If you need parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1aauto.com. I'm going to take a straight blade screwdriver. There's a little cover right here. Just get in under here. Pull that cover off. And then right here is a cover. Pull that cover off. Now I'm going to take a 7mm socket extension and a ratchet. I'm going to take this screw out here. There's two in there, and there's also one underneath here. Take all of those out. Now we want to take some trim tools. We want to get underneath the door panel. Just pry it out. There's a bunch of clips that hold it in. Like that. To get those all out, then we can slide the door panel up. Just like that. Pull the lock rod out of the way. This cable, I want to just push down on this button, slide the cable out, and then pull the ball out. And this wiring harness, you can pull on that wire retainer and disconnect the connector right there. Push down, pull it up. I'm just going to pull this off so that I can take this vapor barrier off completely. Use a 7mm socket extension and a ratchet. Take these two screws out. Right, take that screw out. Take this bracket out. I can take this vapor barrier off. Slide this off. You can take a razor blade and just cut that adhesive if it doesn't peel too easily, but generally it peels pretty easily. And it should re-stick when you go to put it back on. All right, now we're gonna use some masking tape. I'm gonna tape the window up so that it doesn't fall. Now I'm gonna take a 10mm socket extension and a ratchet, and I'm gonna loosen these two nuts through here. These are gonna secure the window to the regulator. So you don't have to take them out completely, just loosen them up a little bit. Make sure the window is secure. Our tape is on there. We put 3 pieces of tape. Just make sure the window is secure. At this point, I'm going to reconnect the switch and then turn the key on. With the switch, I can lower the rear window, which it's really just lowering that part of the regulator. The window is staying because we have it secured up there. So we want it about that position. Make sure you keep your hands out of that area. You don't want to cut any fingers off or anything. So now I'm going to shut the switch off and disconnect the door panel again. Now I'll disconnect the connector to the window motor. Take my 10mm socket extension and ratchet, and there's 4 nuts right here, right there, and there. Take those out. Get those removed. Just going to slide the regulator towards the outside of the door, tip it down, and slide it out, and there it is. If you're replacing the window regulator and it already comes with a motor, skip this step. With the regulator like this, we're going to put the motor side down. There's 3 bolts right here. I'm going to use a 10mm socket extension and a ratchet. Take these out. I'm going to make sure I hold this together with my other hand as I take this last one out. Set that aside. Gently flip it over. Then I can grab the motor, just slide it up. Just want to be careful that this plastic piece doesn't separate from the regulator if you're reusing the regulator, just replacing the motor. Because if that does, then this could untangle and it'll be a big mess. take the motor, we'll slide it through. Just make sure your other hand is below this. Right there, line those bolts up. And we're going to flip this over. Take these screws, get these all started. Take your 10mm socket, extension, and ratchet, tighten these down. You could use a Phillips head screwdriver as well. Snug those all up. That's good. Now take the window regulator. Make sure the studs are facing you. Slide this in position. That's lined up. And you want to make sure the regulator is in front of the glass. Slide the studs through. Take the nuts. And take a 10mm socket and tighten these all up. Now reconnect the connector. Now I'm going to connect the switch, plug it back into the door panel, and then turn the key on. Now I can use the switch and raise the regulator. You just do it slowly. Once you get close to the window, check it. I want to just make sure the clamp goes around the window. Be careful when you're doing this. You don't want to be having your hands in there when you push the button. And that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to raise it up all the way. It's all the way up. You can see the window pop up a little bit. Now I'll go turn the switch off. Now I'm going to just take a 10mm socket, extension, and a ratchet. Tighten up these two nuts up here. Now I'm just going to take a torque wrench and torque those two nuts to 97 inch-pounds. Make sure you're on inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. Before we put this all back together, we want to make sure it works. So take the tape off the window and then turn the ignition key on and let's test it. All right, look at that. It goes down and it goes up. Now we'll take this vapor barrier, reinstall this, slide the cable through here. There's this little indent that goes through that hole right there. That's how you can line this up. There's another one on this side. When that's lined up, just push it back on. Now we'll take this bracket right here, slide this in position, take the two 7mm screws, get these started right here and right here. Take a ratchet, use the 7mm socket, and tighten them down. That's good, that's good. There's this weather strip piece, or window strip, that goes at the base of the window. You're gonna slide this off the door panel, and then there's these little clips. There's 3 of them. You need to pull those off. I'm gonna use a trim tool, try to slide these out. Sometimes you need some like needle nose pliers. Get in there, slide that out. What you do is you just get in there and just try to squeeze this so that you can pull it off. Just squeeze that, pull those out. Now these clips are gonna go right here, just like that. All 3. Put the clips on first. And then we'll take this weather strip or window strip, slide this in position right here, and just press it down. Just like that. All right, now let's hook the switch up. Just push the connector on. And this wire is gonna go into that retainer is going through that hole. Take this cable, put the ball through there, and then slide it over. Lock that in place. Take the lock rod, You need to slide it out, thread it through the hole. Once that's thread through, you get all these pins lined up. Everything's lined up, and you can just push the door panel on. Now there's 4 screws we want to put in. There's 1 right there, 2 right here, and then 1 down below. Install those 4 screws with a 7mm socket and an extension. Then I'm going to take a ratchet and just tighten these down, just snug. I'll take this cover, slide that in there, lock it in place. There's a cover right here. Does the same. There you go.
Thanks for watching. Visit 1aauto.com, your place for DIY auto repairs, for great parts, great service, and more content.